Washington Day on accident.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Volpe Bazzo Report. This is June 6th, D-Day. And to honor D-Day, we have a person whose name begins with D as a guest host, Darren Rigger. And, of course, our political commentator, we have Brian Fumagalli, the editor of the Peekskill Post.
It changes your name every week.
Yes, but our other co-host, my friend Dominic Volpe, he's not here. He's in Florida having Mai Tais.
I'm a little upset though because I've never done a show with Dominic. Now once.
I know.
And you thought you were going to be able to do one today, and you got all dressed up, and he's not even here.
Tie.
He's not here.
I classed this place up for the first time.
I'm not going to say where he got that suit, but when he put it on, his arms went like this. He's an ad for Dead.
Yeah.
But anyway, now if any of you folks, I know this is going to be well after the fact, but maybe if you could go to Darren's Facebook page, you're going to see he's posted a picture with this lady.
A senior citizen, right?
A senior citizen. And I first looked at the photo, and I said, what's Darren doing with Carol Channing? I said, that's not Carol Channing. I said, then what's he doing with they dig up Joan Rivers? And he's standing next to her corpse. Yes. And he's standing next to the corpse of Joan Rivers. I said, no, that's not it. I said, oh, that's it. That's Kathy Griffith without her makeup. Oh. No, it's not that. Turned out.
Nothing says good television like texting.
Yes.
It's a picture.
Yes, that's mean.
That's a nice picture.
It's a picture of me and Nancy Pelosi.
Yep.
And then you go, oh!
See,
like, what's up, Nancy?
See, we can't show you the pictures
It's a great
because...
photo.
That was today?
It was yesterday. It was yesterday.
Okay.
Like I said, you're going to have to
go. She was in New York City. She was on The View.
Let him explain why did you see her yesterday?
No, because she was in New York City. She was doing a number of political events.
Right.
She was on The View, and I guess she did a rally, so she must have stayed overnight. She did a rally today. That's what the leader of the party does. She goes from city to city, state to state. She's raising money. She's holding rallies. She's energizing people. And
I heard
a lot of women.
Had you met her before?
Women are very fired up right now.
Had you met her before?
And I heard.
I have. I've met her a lot of times.
You meet her at the convention?
She's extraordinarily active.
And I heard you energized her. You're her.
And she looks. I mean, she's like 70.
Well, you set yourself up for something.
You're her boy toy, right?
Oh, that's what it is.
You're her energizer.
Yes. I have a crush on Nancy.
You keep her young.
So
yeah, that's why I wore the tie today. So when Andy makes bad jokes, I got this. Yeah. Like that.
Now I wanted.
It's really bad.
We need to discuss a
few months ago.
A couple of things here. Very important. Number one, we need to say hello to our number one fan, Marianne McCara.
Of what city?
Of the city of Peekskill.
Marianne, woo!
And Marianne, that is really the reason why Darren dressed up.
My wife is calling. She probably saw this. She's probably watching.
She's angry.
He doesn't want you to be embarrassed that you know her, so he dressed nicely.
Yeah. Just for Marianne.
Because
thank you, Marianne, for watching.
Yes, yes.
A Peekskill Democrat, by the way. She supports the party most of the time.
Yeah, yes.
Now, it looks like Peekskill is going to have a Democrat majority on the council.
It does?
They do?
Yes, they're going to continue to have a Democrat majority.
Except
a couple of the Democrats are running on the Republican ticket.
Oh.
I mean, you got Robert Sullivan, and you got, what's his name, Segura?
Segura, yeah. He's a businessman in the city, Louis Segura.
The Republicans finally announced their ticket.
Are they both Democrats?
Both registered Democrats, yes.
No,
I don't get it. I don't get that.
Because how many times have I told you in local elections, party affiliation doesn't matter?
It doesn't seem to work. It really doesn't.
Well, it didn't work last time for Catalina.
It didn't work last time. I think what happened last time, and I think what happens many times, is Republicans, diehard Republicans.
Now, you're talking about what level now? Local?
Whatever.
Okay.
I think for whatever. I think that there's definitely this kind of sense like, wait a minute, you're not a Republican, and yet you're a Democrat. Right, so like let's say Andy is a registered Democrat and he's running on the Republican ticket.
Right.
Diehard Republicans like, well, you're not one of us. You don't share our values and our ideals in our party. You maybe even recently supported Hillary Clinton or Andrew Cuomo or other people. Now I'm supposed to support you and pass petitions for you and put out a yard sign.
But wait
for you
a
and give
second.
money
And you're
you.
telling me that the Democrats aren't the same way?
We are. But we run Democrats.
No. No.
If I come with you
This is
right
interesting.
now,
I-
if I come to you right now and
So
say, here's
Darren
my
is-
friend,
yeah.
he supports Astorino, he supports Trump, and now
But he's running as a Democrat.
But now he's a Democrat for this day only.
You
on
would say,
election
oh, he's
day.
just trying to get elected in a Democrat city.
No,
That's
but wait
why.
a second. Let's
Well,
Was that what you would
let-
say?
let-
all I'm
let's
saying is
put
this:
this-
it's proven in the past that Republicans don't vote for that person and Democrats
That's
don't vote
not.
for that
But
person.
I have to
'Cause
argue
Democrats-
this.
It doesn't
Democrats
matter.
Are not going to
No,
cross over and
because you-
vote.
This
for
is this is what
Republicans.
I sense, though, and this is more important than what you're going to say.
Nothing is more
Yes,
important.
it is.
Excuse me. Whose name is on the show?
He's in Florida right now.
I know, but who's the other name on the show?
Yours.
Okay, so whatever I have to say
Can I
is
just say
always
Fine,
important.
fine.
It's always important, Andy.
That's
Bow,
right.
bow down to you.
Yes.
I
You want to kiss? Oh, I don't have
No,
my
thank
ring.
you.
Oh, my ring's in my back pocket. You want to kiss the ring?
You can talk now. He lost his
Good.
sound.
Good.
No one
Darren and I
can
will carry the show here. I sense from you, you're a former councilman, Democrat in Peekskill. You're very involved with the party, very plugged in. I sense from you that you're not very happy with these two registered Democrats who are on this Republican ticket.
I don't. What I'm saying is, it has been proven over and over again
So you think it's a folly?
that when someone, it's almost like it comes across
A man without a country.
a man without a country.
Then what happened
That's
in
right.
Yorktown?
This
Donnie
doesn't-
Peters was a
Well, let's keep it
Republican.
to Peekskill.
No. He's saying it doesn't work. In Yorktown, Donnie Peters ran as a Republican all his life, goes as a Democrat, becomes supervisor.
Demographics matter
Susan
in Peekskill,
Siegel
they don't in
was a
Yorktown.
Democrat all her life, ran as a Republican. She wins as supervisor. Nick Bianco was a conservative all his life. He runs as a Democrat, but he lost to Michael Grace, who was a Republican until he became a
Someone
conservative.
like Nick Bianco was already in office for years and years.
But not Susan-
But they knew who he was.
Yeah, that's
They
why he
knew,
lost.
You know.
They knew who he was.
And also
but
I think
Nancy
that's the funny
Pelosi,
thing-
but not Nancy. I'm thinking about the Energizer again.
What I think they're trying to do is to show, like, they always say things like, well, this is a diverse group.
They're calling it the fusion ticket.
Because it's
Peekskill
Democrats and
United
Republicans.
fusion ticket.
But what I think the American people and voters are looking for is diversity of ideas. You can't just have 5 people or 4 people that agree lockstep like rubber stamps for Frank Catalina and claim that it's diversity because of their party affiliation.
Well,
Yeah, but
I would
that's
say
not what
I
gives
would-
you diversity.
Wait
of
a
ideas.
second.
That's
First of
true,
all-
but as the Democrat talking, in my experience, Democrats really are the ones. They'll say there'll be a Republican rally, and they'll say, "Look in the crowd, it's all white people." Democrats, to me, and from affirmative action to everything we've seen,
Yeah.
care about skin color more than ideas. They care about diversity of skin color more than diversity of ideas. But I think what we have in this, and this is what the Republicans are saying, and we'll talk about with the Democrats, but the Republican ticket is saying, the Catalina ticket in Peekskill, is saying we are a group of Democrats and Republicans who see the city going in the right direction in terms of development, and we want to keep it that way. The opposition ticket, the Democrats, have the majority on the council, and they're going to do anything to keep it, and they're making development very hard in Peekskill. And if they get more on the council,
Okay, but first, I just have to body check that just
Yeah.
momentarily. The way the council works, right? It's a weak mayoral
Weak mayor,
system.
yes.
So the majority has the vote.
Right.
So if something is going to pass, if a developer wants to get
It's a
something
very good
passed,
point.
it comes up in front of the majority. This Democratic continuity over the last 8 years, 9 years, has never failed to pass for new development. They've never
I
stopped
want your reaction.
new development
I want your reaction
in
to
the
this.
city.
One of the people in the know
Yeah,
on the council.
Because if they wanted to
One of
stop
the-
something, they could.
Well, this to your point.
Yeah,
I want your reaction to
absolutely.
this. One of the Republicans on the council told me, you wouldn't believe it, but the only reason that we're getting anything through is because every now and then we can guilt the Democrats into voting for something that they don't really want to vote for, because if they don't, we're going to tell them, we're going to go tell everybody what you voted against, and it's going to make you look bad. And therefore, they've been guilted into supporting something.
And I'm not.
I mean, do you have a reaction to
I'm
that?
not saying this just because of Frank Catalina. The projects.
Republican mayor.
But the projects that are on the books right now, many of them started under John Testa. Right? They didn't start under Mary Foster.
Right.
That's how slow and long these processes are. They point to things like the Alma building that's being built on Brown Street. Well, that was approved under John Testa. It was approved again in different versions under Mary Foster, and it was approved again under different
Why did it
versions
take so long?
because it does. There was a downturn in the economy. and so
economy, we know
developers
that, right?
stopped. They pulled back.
Right.
People like Ginsburg pulled back. People like Alma Realty pulled back. It's a little bit better now, so the projects are sort of moving along. But even things like the firehouse, which is kind of cranking along now, and yeah, I mean, Frank Catalina took office.
Well, that goes way back.
Yeah, but Frank Catalina took office. He said, I'm going to get it done day one. And he realized, well, there was eminent domain. There was lawsuits. There was a guy at the liquor store that didn't want to move. There's things that just, it takes a long time and it kind of grinds along.
Well,
but that again, the firehouse was not Frank. It was not Mary Foster. It was John Tester, or maybe even precursor
I think it was
John
even
Tester.
before him, maybe.
Yeah.
What would you say to this, though? Do you think developer X would rather have a discussion with Frank Catalina or with Andre Rainey?
With Frank
Wait a
Catalina.
second, let's say what it is. You're
Absolutely
saying,
with Frank
wait a second,
Catalina.
no, wait a second.
Frank
Wait, wait, wait.
Catalina- Frank
Is
Catalina-
developer X Muslim? Because you had Malcolm X.
Frank
Is he
Catalina-
related to
Developer,
Malcolm X? So is he Muslim?
he's atheist. Doesn't believe in
But
God.
Okay.
Frank's an attorney who represents landlords.
Right.
Right?
Okay. Well,
and that's
I don't
the
know if
biggest
that's
problem
what
I
he does,
have
okay.
right now in the city of Peekskill.
Okay,
The
what
problem
is
I
it?
have is that we don't have enough inspectors cracking down on the housing stock in the city of Peekskill. That's why you're seeing a spike up in illegal housing, fires, house fires. It's endangering people.
Now,
we need to crack down
how do you do
on
that?
slumlords.
How do you do it?
We need to take funding and commit to it and hire a new building inspector to go in there and supplement the inspections that we have right now.
Well, as you said,
working
you have the
tandem
majority
with
on the
fire-
council.
and they should be doing it. That should be the next fight. If I was talking to my Democratic majority, I'm going to tell them, guys, you've got to work tandem with the fire department, get some money to housing inspection, crack down on the illegal housing. Our fire department complains about it.
Well, but here's the situation, and this is just the reality. I don't want anybody saying anything. A lot of the illegal housing is housing illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Now, how will that play with the Democrat base?
But again,
in
it begs the
Peekskill?
question: why is that? Because someone who feels that they are not empowered to go to court and complain about their landlord, someone who's paying cash under the table. So it's a system that feeds itself. So if you have illegal housing and you're a slumlord and you live in Florida and you have a dilapidated
you love
building
it.
here in Peekskill, you love it. You don't want to rent to an empowered American citizen.
Right.
You want to seek out and try to rent illegally off the books to an illegal alien. So it's a system
the
that feeds
problems
itself.
with illegal immigration just keep. I mean, they never end. But a lot of what's happened in the past 6 months, at least, is that, and this is the Democrats have started it, and the Republicans on the council have reacted. Whether it's the statement that everybody's welcome in Peekskill, to then
Whichever one is, no one would ever say people are not welcome.
right, but
Right, you would never say.
then you're dipping, and there's been a subsequent statement that kind of dipped its toes in the water of sanctuary city. All are welcome regardless of status. I forget the exact language, but it's plain
Which
to anyone
Peekskill
that's
is not a sanctuary city.
right. But that's what the Democrats had put up, and there was a whole thing. Wait a minute, are they trying to box the Republicans in an election year and put this illegal immigration, which is a national issue and it's local, of course, but and put it onto the council? And so,
Did you gentlemen read my wonderful article on
Well,
sanctuary
yes,
cities
yes.
and the laws regarding it?
Yes, but
that
I wanna get Darren's-
But it was important because people should know out there before they start saying maybe my city should be a sanctuary city. Forget we're seen in a pretty good area. That according to federal law, if you declare yourself a sanctuary city and the police enforce that law that you've passed and somebody gets hurt in a felony by an illegal immigrant, that the law officers can be sued, not the politicians that passed the law, but the law officers can be sued for disobeying federal law by obeying your local law of a sanctuary city.
well, here-
So you put the law officers in a terrible position
Yeah.
by doing that. You really...
And I would never advocate that. And I think that's
Right,
why
I know, you've
if
been
you talk to
consistent
Eric
with that.
Johansson, I mean, he would
Right.
say point blank, we are not a sanctuary
Right,
city.
right. They
And the
work with ICE
council-
when they need to.
Yeah, and the council has
Yes.
never passed any laws
Right.
saying
But it was
the
up
police,
for
But
discussion.
the Democrats put a press release out, and in that press release, I forget the exact language, which is very important in matters like this, but I'm paraphrasing, it did say, all are welcome regardless of legal status.
yeah, correct. I mean, yeah.
How any normal person would read that is saying, while we're not declaring ourselves, because this is a political party saying this, but the Peekskill Democrats are telling people that if you're here illegally in this country, you can come to this city. So then, but
we're also saying
to talk about illegal housing.
We're also saying to the 4,000 or 5,000 people living here in the city of Peekskill already who are undocumented, that you know what, you could still go out to dinner.
So that's what you're saying. It was
You
for.
could
It was
still
trying to
exist. You could still live amongst us.
You could drive a cab.
And according to Eric Johansson, according to the police department, right, if you witness a crime, don't be afraid to walk over to a police officer.
You'll
He's
be
not
fine.
going to throw you against the wall.
Not even ask your name.
Wait a second. Who stoked those fears to begin with? But the Democrat Party stoked those fears.
Well, we can argue
all
about
the
that.
nasty Republicans, if you report a crime, are going to deport you. That's never going to happen. I don't know of any police department anywhere
they don't
that
do
would go after the victim
of
a crime. They would go after the person.
You hear nightmare stories, though.
Oh, please, those nightmare stories are made up out of whole cloth so you can scare the ignorant.
Women who are hit by a guy and they end up in the hospital, and then someone says, you should go to court and press charges against him, and she says no.
Okay, but let's get something straight here. Hold on a second.
I agree. The system is very difficult to navigate.
No one forced them to come here. You can't come here against federal law and then say nothing's fair. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. But I'm just saying, I don't think your line about illegal housing would play well with the Democrat base and voter in Peekskill.
Especially those houses with the three language
especially with the rhetoric.
signs.
I think if Frank Catalina or Republican had said that, some on your side would use that to say, well, what he's really saying. They'd say it's code, because you guys love your code.
Oh, it's going after the illegal.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
Right. And so I don't think it'll play well with your voting
Especially
bloc.
those houses that have those three language signs in the front lawn that we want you no matter where you're from in three different languages.
Your original question was, if I was a developer, who would I rather?
Yes.
Who do I look? I honestly, I tell this to everyone. I believe Frank Catalina is great at being mayor. But he's not a great mayor. I don't think he puts in the homework, and I think that sometimes he's very lazy.
So you're saying he's a great figurehead. That's what you're saying.
We have a good system for him because
that's what they said about Ronald Reagan too. Not comparing to Ronald Reagan.
No, but he's a good figurehead for the city, and he's just not a good mayor. He doesn't sink his teeth into the homework part of it.
I really can't let you say this, because the next time I see him, like we picked on his jacket, he's going to break my chops. You really
he's going to break your chops no matter what.
No, Frank.
He breaks my chops.
Yeah.
Frank, as a minority mayor, has done a good job of playing well with others. Not a lot. I can think of a number of people that could not have done what he's done in his position of playing well with others. He does work. I mean, he used to say nice things about you, for God's sakes.
You were the only one he said nice things about all the time.
Well, I'm a nice guy. No, and I tried to be fairly reasonable. I tried to, when I was on the council, I tried to be sort of sane. I just have a problem that I think that some people are completely anti-developer, and that's wrong. But other people tend to just say, look, I want to hand the keys of the city over to the developers and let them build
Is that what you see Catalina doing?
I think that I don't think he ever stands up to the developers. I don't think he ever checks them and says, look, you're building it too tall, too wide, too much concentration. He never does the follow-up questions. If you come in tomorrow and you say, I want to build a building right smack in the middle of Peekskill, someone has to ask the question, where are those people going to park? Someone has to ask that question. You need to have at least some control over the development.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem with the
know,
empty workman's comp building. I heard that was bought now by somebody.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Right, and you can't make a department store out of it because there's no parking.
Well, did you see my story on workers' comp in Peekskill?
Yeah, that it went down.
Yeah, thousands of dollars of policy went down. So it was $200, 200,000, excuse me.
Right.
So they can just demolish that workers' comp building. We don't need it anymore.
No, it's already ended up. But what I'm saying, what can you do with that building, as it is, with the lack of parking that's in the downtown? I mean, you can't have a department store. See, like in the old days when Janung's existed, Bank Street and North Division were a lot wider.
This is a challenge, this building that's going up right now on Main Street. I mean, it's a wonderful
development. In terms of what?
And I voted in favor of it.
In terms of parking. What would you say is a bigger issue in the city, parking or garbage?
Parking.
Would you say that's the number one issue?
I I have a problem with
In terms of quality of life.
I had the housing stock. I think some of the housing stock is problematic, but in terms of quality of life, I think parking, and parking also is holding back some of our small businesses. I hear people say that they, the businesses are struggling because
People don't want to come in and
people
park
can't
the parking nightmare.
What do
People
you
can't
mean?
figure it out.
They got all those nice new meters. We should raise the price of the meters. Help keep the road. This way, you can get more garbage pickup.
Tell me this, Andre Rainey.
They're not paying enough.
On weekends,
They're not paying enough for the meter.
on weekends, if you're a store owner and you let your employee park on the streets in Peekskill, you're doing a disservice to your own business.
It's true, which is
you
sad.
You should send your employees to go park in one of the parking garages and then
Right.
walk over to the business for the day. But they tie up all the parking. There's no parking on weekends in the city of Peekskill.
Tell me why.
Yeah, but they shut off that whole damn restaurant road crossover at North Division.
in the summertime
Street.
they do that, right?
Yeah, but that kills off a lot of parking, right?
Bank
Yeah.
Street is almost always blocked off with,
Yeah.
with something.
So
over the
that
summer.
screws up that.
It's
So
Well, there's no
almost-
perfect solution. I mean, well, speaking of perfection, I want to mention Andre Rainey. Now, he's not quite perfect, but he's close to it. So tell me why you think he's the top of the ticket for the Democrats, why he'd be a good mayor, and why people should vote for him.
I think Andre's great. I think Andre has this amazing positive personality that he can look at any situation
And call it racist.
and find the positive part about it. And no, but he really does. People unreasonably walk right up to him and yell at him and say things, and it just rolls right off of him. He's almost got like this Zen thing about him where he's able to look and say, look, I'm focused on something else. I'm
And
focused.
you have that quality.
And he does not walk around bad-mouthing and attacking Frank or anybody, really. I mean, he doesn't.
just-
So he's got a
just
really
Brian.
positive way about him.
There's a lot of face-to-face and email-to-email against, but that's, I guess, probably normal.
Well, yeah.
But I don't hear a lot. I mean, well, on Facebook, let me correct you there. Take me out of it. The way he's libeled, slandered, whatever legal term is me, has been pathetic and inexcusable, and therefore nice people don't do those things, respectable people don't do those things, and leaders don't do those things. But he and the mayor have gone back and forth big time against each other
Yeah.
on Facebook, which is very public.
Yeah.
And I assume since they're now against each other, when things start to heat up, we'll probably see more of that.
Yeah, the mayor last election was a little awkward with Facebook. And I don't know if you remember this. At the end of
He
the
was
election.
hot and cold with it.
Yeah, at the end of the election, he made this big pronouncement that he was no longer going to campaign on Facebook and he was going to stay off it and swear off it. And
Well,
It's tough to
I'm
give
worried
up
about
social-
race.
It's tough to give up social
It is, but I'm
media.
worried about race creeping into this, and I hope it doesn't.
I
because
actually stopped emailing exchanges.
emailing. On the council?
When I was on the council, partly because two things. Number one, text and email, you can't. It's
Erase
hard
it?
to. Well, it's hard to.
No sarcasm comes across.
Yes, yeah, and also just
Context.
hard to context, intonation. You can't.
Yeah.
It's really hard to have an exchange. You don't know if someone's mad. When it's like, capital letters means I'm serious.
I know, people
you
get so offended.
I'm
Why
going to
you
use an
using caps?
emoji that says
Right.
unhappy. I mean, how do you? It's goofy, but it's also forever. And they could take that, screenshot it, take it out of context, and a year later it shows up on a blog.
Right.
And you're like, well, yeah, I said that, but I
No,
was
yeah,
heated
you-
at the time.
Do you think that?
It was awful. I'd rather pick up the phone and yell at somebody.
Right.
And then I can deny it later. I never
and then
called
I
an
said,
ass.
I recorded it. I got Darren right here.
See,
We'll raise- we'll
my
raise-
generation had a much better way of doing that. I was drunk when it happened. I don't remember. So, we had a good excuse because
Well,
there
you
was
can
no
still say it, but then it
emails.
might appear.
I was
Right.
drunk when that happened. I didn't even know she was in bed with me. The Bill Cosby excuse.
Yes.
She
Well,
was
he's
on
drugging people.
drugs. Who could believe her?
Right,
But
right.
you gave her the
gave her the
drugs.
drugs.
It was the
Right.
70s. We were all doing Quaaludes.
But here's the situation. The top of the ticket in Peekskill has played the race card with numerous people, I can name them, that don't deserve it. Will he do the same in the campaign? Will this come down to a black, white, Hispanic, white, Donald Trump? Will that nonsense get into this race? Because it's a very dangerous person you guys put at the top of your ticket. Someone who constantly resorts to skin color. Is he gonna do that again?
no,
Is he
I
gonna
don't
keep
think.
doing it?
Look, I don't think you have to. I think that.
What if they put Trump on the old Janung's building?
Look,
A new Trump Tower.
after the last a bunch of years in American politics, and I'm not just saying Donald Trump, but just I think that we have now come to this kind of settle down to where the African American community votes the Democratic line. I would say like well over 80%.
It's been that way for decades.
And I think that the new
90%.
immigrant Hispanic population now is trending towards those numbers as well. So I don't think that you need, as Democrats, you don't need to go campaign to kind of inflame or win over the black and Hispanic vote. Just like I'm sure the Republican base vote also doesn't feel like they have some need for the candidate of the Republicans to go out and inflame their base. You're going to see this fight.
But
It's going to be in
he's done it
places like
before.
this fight's going to be in places like Chapel Hill. It's going to be in the condos. They're going to be talking about this guy Robert Sullivan. I mean, he's the guy that sued the city to double the taxes that year.
But he also
the people in the condos, they don't want that.
See, that's going to
He
be
also-
tough.
yeah, but
Darren's
he-
got a point there.
Yeah, but he also won
It
the
doesn't-
fight. No, he also won the fight with the condo owners not having to pay extra for the new water meters.
I get that, but it's going
I
to be. Darren has a talking point right there, and there's another side to it. But that's going to be very tough for him to overcome.
How? The
do you mean
law
how?
is the law, and he was right. The court said he was right.
Nobody cares about that. They care about the emotional. What did he do? He sued and taxes went up. That's all that matters. It's going to be very tough for him, unfortunately.
Only if you're a Democrat voter because you rely on low information and ignorance. But an intelligent voter that says, okay, what was the rule? You mean a court actually said he was right, that they did something not right, and that it had to be done again?
I think it's going to be a problem for their ticket. That's going to be something that Democrats are going to bring up a lot.
And I'm the Democrat that did the not right thing. You know,
That's yeah.
I'm
You were there then. I forgot.
No, I was the guy.
Yeah.
It was my vote. So we had the vote on the budget, and it failed. It was going to be 3-3, which means we weren't going to be able to pass a budget that night. And if we didn't pass a budget that evening, it would revert back to the twice as bad.
Right.
I thought twice as
the
high.
city manager's budget.
City manager's budget,
Which was almost a 6% increase.
so after the vote
Tax.
didn't pass because of a deadlocked personality issue, I was able to take everybody back into chambers, and we hashed it all out, and we agreed we're going to go ahead and pass
But-
it. And we came back out, and I made the motion again. Now, what no one caught was that because I made the motion the first time,
You couldn't
I
do it
was
again.
actually ineligible to make
Right.
the motion the second time.
Right.
Now, I didn't catch that. I didn't know that, actually.
Well,
My
the
own
city
ignorance.
attorney should have told
City
you that.
attorney didn't, and the city manager allowed to go through.
Right.
So we all voted. The budget passed, or the modified budget passed. which-
About a 3%.
3% tax increase.
Bob Sullivan caught it.
Robert Sullivan caught it.
Yes.
I think with the tacit support of Frank Catalina, he went and he
Could be.
sued the
I don't
city,
know.
demanding to undo that vote.
Because
know.
it violated the city charter and Robert's Rules of Order.
Because Robert's Rules of
And
Order.
the courts upheld it.
And
Yes,
the
they did.
result was, instead of a 3% tax increase,
to
roughly a
6%.
6% tax increase. So
Yes.
it doubled the tax increase on the city of Peekskill that day.
Can't blame Robert for that.
Well,
law
you
is the
also don't throw
law.
him a parade. I'm
Well-
hardly going to give him a ticket tape parade
I
for
know, but-
figuring out that he
But
found
the law
a
is
way
the
to do
law.
it.
There has to be some respect for
People
law.
put their trust in you guys for a reason. You got to get that right. But I see what you're saying. It's going to be an issue. You're going to play that
Yeah.
out.
They'll play it. I know, but to play it.
I'm not sure that was the heroic moment, though, that you held city accountable for Robert's Rule of Law.
Yeah, but to play
Yeah.
play that up means you're going to have to count on people being ignorant. And that. So what does
Well,
that say
peop-
about what you're playing to? What
people-
does that
I
say
think
what you're playing
That-
to?
It doesn't matter what they're playing to. It matters what works or not.
Ignorance, if you play to it, will always work.
Well, then there you go. They need to protect their majority on the council.
But business,
But they're going to have the majority no matter what. Just a couple of them be on the Republican ticket. Like, we're back to the beginning of the show.
Do you think? Oh, I think we have 2 minutes left, probably now, 30 seconds. Do you think Catalina's ticket will take back the majority? We're almost done.
I predict the Democrats will hold the majority on the.
Registered Democrats, you SOB. Thank you.
I predict that.
Well, you're going to be right about that.
See, and I'm good at this. You know I'm good at these.
I wish Drew was running again.
She would lose.
No, she
She-
would.
yeah,
She would
she
win.
would.
Are we
Absolutely.
silent now?
No, not until it goes.
Can we
by.
curse yet?
Wait,